If you're a beginner in Blender and you want to make photorealistic backrooms renders like this, then you're in the right spot. Stick around. This video is aimed at people who are beginners in Blender, but who at least know the very basics, how to get into edit mode and object mode and the very, very basics of texturing and rendering, those sorts of things. But I'm going to walk you through most of it anyway, so even if you don't know those things, you might be able to follow along just fine. So before we get started, a few housekeeping things. Come up here to render. Make sure that you are in cycles, not Eevee, for your render. And your device this is just going to depend on what type of computer you have. I use GPU compute. I'm on a Mac. I know that if you have a NVIDIA graphics card, there are way more options and it's a lot faster, but hey, you work with what you got. I like to set my viewport max samples to 30 and my render max samples to around 200. For this one, I might bump it up a little bit later, but we'll see. And that's honestly about it. Those are the only things you need to check before we get started. So what I like to do is delete the default cube and add a cube. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to delete the default cube. I actually leave it most of the time. But with the default cube selected, we are going to tab into edit mode, and I'm going to scale this along the x-axis just a little bit like that. Scale it along the y-axis. I just want to make, this is going to be our room, just as a reference. So I want to make something that kind of feels like the shape of a room. And we're not going for perfect scale here. We are not trying to have a one-to-one representation of what this room is going to look like in the real world because the back rooms aren't in the real world. So we can have a little bit of fun with this. We can take some creative liberties. And personally, I think it's kind of fun. I'm going to go back into edit mode here. I think it's kind of fun when rooms are a little bit tall. Whoop, I hit Z. Scale Z is what I was trying to do. And also, I'm just going to let you know this right off the bat here. I'm going to leave my mistakes in because I am not some crazy genius in Blender. I'm learning this just like you guys are. I'm just sharing the things that I've learned. And I think it's important to show the mistakes as well because chances are some of you might make the same mistakes that I do. And hopefully this is helpful. And now that I'm looking at this, I actually think I want to scale it along the y-axis a little bit more, make it a little bit of a wider room. So this is going to be our basic room shape. I'm actually going to take our camera here. I'm going to select that. I'm going to hit 0 on the numpad, and then I'm going to hit Shift tilde, and that's going to bring us into this sort of first-person view mode. And you can use WASD, just like you're flying around in a video game, to position your camera. So let's get our camera somewhere that kind of looks interesting and nice. We're inside this cube right now, which is nuts. And now that I'm looking at this, I'm noticing a few things. One, I'm not seeing a lot of the room, so I'm going to want to change the size a little bit more. And I also think I'm going to change our camera to be more, we'll say vertical video friendly if we ever want to turn this into a video. So I'm going to come out here into my output tab and I'm going to change this to 1080 by 1920. So we kind of get that, shot on iPhone type look. And now you can see there's our render area right there in the middle of what we'll be seeing through our camera. And I think that's fine. I still think the room needs some work though. So I'm going to select the room now, which the cube is selected, but because we're inside of it, we don't see that highlight. I'm going to tab into edit mode, scale on the x-axis, bring that out so it's a little bit of a deeper room. And I'm actually going to tab out of edit mode, grab the room again, and hit G and X to move it on the x-axis as well. So we're just in the corner of the room. And you can see if I kind of back out oh gosh, hold on. Got to get just zoomed in here. This is the tricky part. I'm trying to show you guys where the camera is, but now I can't get inside my cube. Let me into the cube. There we go. So our camera's way over there in the corner of the room. We'll go back to our camera. Now, something that I like to do, you don't have to do this. This is purely optional. But I like to come up here, up into the upper corner, and then you'll see this little plus sign where your cursor is. We're going to click and we're going to drag, and that's going to make a new window. I like to leave this left window as my camera view so I can see what I'm working with. So let's go back to 0 there. And then over here is where I start to make some of my actual changes to the geometry itself. So to start with, I'm going to tab back into edit mode, and I'm going to hit Command or Control R to make a loop cut, and then use my scroll wheel to add a ton of loops. And let's see. It's up to you how many you want to add. And you'll see in the preview how many I have there. That might even be too many. So I'm going to hit Command Z to undo that. Let's do a few loop cuts here. And you'll see what I want to do with this in just a second. I want to make a hallway here. I feel like a hallway here would look really, really neat. So I'm going to add another loop cut here to sort of be our the height of our hallway. And I'm looking on the left side of my screen to see how tall I want that to be. I think right about there looks good. And again, guys, I said this in one of my previous videos. I'll say it again here. Nobody's checking your homework. This is a creative exercise. Do what feels cool to you in the moment, because this is a digital file that nobody is going to be judging you on. So just have some fun, experiment, and don't let someone on the internet tell you that you're doing it wrong, because I'm sure I'm doing a lot of things wrong. I'm going to come up here to face select mode, and I'm going to select the face where I want our hallway to be. I think it's going to be here, and you'll see it highlights it on our cube here as well. And I'm going to hit E on the keyboard to extrude it, and I think that'll probably be enough. I mean, we can make that hallway as long as we want, but for now I think that works. So I'm going to tab out of edit mode. I'm going to select my camera again, shift tilde, and just kind of experiment with where we're at in space here. And what we can do too, because I want to see a little bit more of this room, is I'm going to come over here to my camera properties, and I'm going to make this a little bit of a wider angle lens. So let's drag that out to like maybe 32 millimeter. So it's a little bit, we're catching a little bit more of that scene, and now we can kind of look around, move around in our scene, and we're just seeing a little bit more of that world. I like that. I think that works. Then it looks cool. We'll pop over here a little bit maybe. And right now, here's the thing, guys. I know that this is not like the optimal workflow. We're below the horizon line here. So I'll just select everything, G, Z, and bring it up so that our floor is about at the floor. You don't have to do this. This is purely optional. I'm just doing it because sometimes it drives me nuts. So I'm liking how this is starting to shape out. I'm going to tab back into edit mode, and I think another hallway here would look really cool. So I'm going to do Command R, make another loop cut, and let's bring it over here. I kind of like it when hallways start too close to something. I feel like that's very Backrooms friendly. We'll do another loop cut and maybe this will be a really skinny hallway. Oh yeah, I like that. I like that idea. And the height of our hallway is already set because, shocker, we had the other loop cut. That sounded really mean. I wasn't saying shocker to be mean. Anyway, you can select face mode again. We're going to select that face, and we're going to E, extrude it back until we can't see the end of it. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's nice. I like that a lot. So, and it's so funny because you look at this from above, and it's like, this just looks so wacky and stupid. But it's going to look cool. So what I want to do next is I want to add our baseboard to the floor here. So we'll do that by, oh no, I hit tilde. By tabbing into edit mode, we are going to zoom in here a little bit. We're going to add another loop cut here, and you'll see wherever you add this loop cut, it's going to try to cut your geometry in a straight line wherever it can. And here it's basically cutting our entire floor plan. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to drag it down to about the height that we want our floorboard to be. We'll say maybe about there. You don't want it to be too high, right? Nobody wants a floorboard that's too high, or a baseboard rather that's too high. And then to actually get our baseboard selected, this is a fun little trick I like to do. We are going to scroll over here to the right if it's not showing on your screen. We are going to toggle wireframe mode, and you want to make sure that this X-ray view is selected here as well. So when I'm ready to select this, I can come in here, select all of these, and then, oops, all floor. We don't want that. So instead of going that direction, and we could still do this, right? Like this is not a game breaker here, but I'm gonna try something different to see if I can get it to work for us. So I'm gonna deselect that, and I'm gonna come to just one little part of our baseboard here. And you don't have to be in wireframe X-ray mode for this. We can just be in regular viewport shading. What was this even called? Yeah, solid. There we go, regular. And you can hit Option and click, and it's going to loop select. But you'll notice it selected the wrong loop. So let's try again over here, click a little bit closer to the edge. There we go. It's a little finicky. It just kind of depends on where you click it. But now you'll notice that it has selected this edge loop. Well, oh goodness. This edge loop all the way around, and it has not selected our floors, which is exactly what we want because we don't need the floors right now. Once we have our baseboard selected, I'm going to come over here to extrude region, and I'm going to press and hold that so it brings this menu up, and I'm going to hit extrude along normals. And I'm just going to pull this lever until those pop out just a hair. I mean, we really don't want much of that popping out. And I'm actually going to make our lives a little bit easier here. So I'm going to go back into select box mode. I'm going to select one of our actual floorboards, not our baseboard. Oh wait, hold on. See guys, this is why we check. See, and I told you I'd leave the mistakes in. I extruded that way too much. That is so thick for a baseboard. So we're gonna Command Z that a little bit. All right, we'll come back down here. Extrude along normals. We just need the slightest bit of extrusion, just a tiny bit. That's so much better. Okay. Now, we'll come back up to box select, select one of our floors here, and we are going to come up here to the top bar. We're going to hit select, select similar, coplanar, and that's going to give us our entire floor. Now this is where we do something kind of fun, and it's you don't have to do this. Again, this is optional. This is something that I just think helps in the long run. It helps speed things up a little bit. I'm going to hit P on the keyboard, and it's going to see this separate menu. We're going to say separate by selection. And now, Bob's your uncle, our floor is a separate cube. You'll see now we have cube 1. That's our floor. And our original cube is the rest of our building. You should be naming these. I don't name my stuff nearly often enough. I should. My life would be a lot easier if I did. I just kind of don't. Okay, so now we can go back into our camera view here. We have our floor. We have our baseboard set up. We can, if we want, maybe add like a pillar or something. I feel like that usually looks pretty cool. Again, do what feels right. Do what feels like it's going to make the scene feel great to you. I think let's add a quick pillar. I'm gonna do Shift A. I'm going to add a cube. And I'm going to scale this. I'm going to hit scale, and then I'm going to hit Shift Z to scale it on everything but the Z axis to make kind of a thin pillar here. Then I'm going to scale it on the Z axis, and I should be doing this in edit mode. I'll show you how to fix that in just a second because I'm going to need to fix it. And then I'm going to hit G, Z, and bring it up so it's kind of sitting in our room there. Now, because I did this backwards, it's going to become a pain in the butt later if we try to add some textures to this. So instead, I'm just going to hit Command A, which is going to apply our scale. Now, if we go into edit it, it'll be the way it should be, and everyone will be happy, and you won't get yelled at by people on the internet. So now with this pillar selected, I'm going to come in here, Command R, loop cut. This is the stuff we already know, right? So I'm going to loop cut that, add in our little area for our baseboard here, and what do? We come here to face select, we do option click, we come over here, we do extrude along normals. Whoa, we extrude it along normals just a touch to give it that baseboard, and we are good to go. Let's come back into our camera view, and I know I've been working a lot from that camera view panel, but you can work from whichever one you want because it's your project. Now here we're encountering something interesting. This happens all the freaking time, and I'm so happy this happened on camera. I can't zoom in anymore. I'm scrolling, and I'm stuck without being able to zoom in. So if you have an object selected that you want to focus on, come up here to View, Frame Selected. And now you'll be able to zoom in way more. There we go. And kind of fly around your scene a little bit better. Frame selected has saved my life so many times. You have no idea. But I want to move our pillar around. I'm going to hit G, and I'm going to constrain it to the X axis, move it back here a little bit. And actually, I'm going to bring it back for a little bit. And then G, Y to bring it over just to the edge of the frame there, because I don't think we need it to really be front and center. So now it's time for everybody's favorite part, texturing. And maybe my unpopular opinion is that I think texturing is it's just not something that I want to learn super in depth. Eventually I would love to, but I'm not great at it right now. So what do I use? Blender Kit, a completely free add-on. So we want to find textures for the wall and for the floor here, and obviously the ceiling, but ceiling I usually just leave as almost like a white ceiling. And we can even do that with the walls if we wanted, make it just kind of like a plaster look, but I think we'll give them some wallpaper or something of the like. So I'm going to start with our floor. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to select materials, and then I'm going to search in Blender Kit for carpet. And we also want to bring our filter over here to be showing us things that are free only. You're going to see that more when you're looking at models. I don't even know if it doesn't even look like it's an option for materials. But for carpet, let's just see what kind of calls to us. There's no right or wrong answer here. What type of carpet do we like? Let's go with, I kind of like this old carpet here. So I'm going to click that, and you'll notice nothing happened. So how do we see the carpet that we added in? We come up here to Material Preview, and there we go. We got some carpet. Beautiful, lovely. You love to see it. If any of your materials are looking weird, what you can also do is tab into Edit Mode, and then hit U with everything selected, and do Unwrap, Cube Projection, and then bring that cube scale down to 1, and that'll get you usually pretty close to where you want to go. So next, let's look at our wallpaper. What do we want to do there? Let's see. Let's come up here. We'll type into Blender Kit wallpaper, hit enter, and we could go with like this cloudy wallpaper. I feel like that's very Backrooms. Let's see what that looks like. I don't love that. That's not, I'll actually bring this over to material preview as well so we can get an idea from the camera. That looks like something out of a not great video game to me. So let's go with, do we just go with the classic Backrooms wallpaper? I mean, why not, right? This is a Backrooms tutorial, sure. But if we're going to do that, I feel like the carpet's got to be different because this carpet does not match that wallpaper. So let's go back into carpet and let's get maybe a lighter procedural carpet. What does that look like? I don't mind that. I'm curious what it's going to look like in rendered view, but we'll start with that for now. Now, you'll also notice that our pillar here does not have a wallpaper, so we got to apply the same wallpaper there. Fun thing you can do is if you have this selected, come over into your material, and because we have this wallpaper slot already in our scene, we can hit Browse Material to be linked, click that Backrooms wallpaper, and it's going to add it. But oh no, it looks terrible. Well, we can come in here, select All, Unwrap, Cube Projection, 1, and there we go. It's looking great. We love to see it. We do need to change the color of our baseboards. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm actually going to hide our floor for right now because we don't need that. And I'm going to hide our pillar for now as well. I'm going to come into front view with 1, and we're going to enter that wireframe mode again. We're going to select our room, make sure we're in face select, and we're just going to select all over our baseboards here, and you'll see in our preview over on this side that those baseboards are selected. And we're going to come up here into our material. So again, that's on this sidebar here at the bottom. We're in material. I'm going to hit plus, and I'm going to make a new material. And this is fine, this principled BSDF. I'm going to make it a little bit rougher and maybe make it like a little bit of an off yellow white. I think that'll look nice. And then you just click assign. And then you have a baseboard material, which looks awesome. So now we can actually show our other cube here as well. We'll do the same thing there. I'm going to zoom in here so we can see it. Enter edit mode, select that base. And again, because it's already in our scene, we can hit plus to add a new material slot. And then we can just find our, again, I should label these, you guys. Material 001, apply, or assign rather. And now we have those set up and we can bring our carpet back into the scene. This is close. This is very close to where we want it. I still don't love this ceiling. I don't think the ceiling is very Backrooms at all. So instead of trying to texture the crap out of it and make it look good that way, I am going to do a little cheat here. I'm going to select this and let's select all of our ceiling bits. So I'm going to go into 7 for our top-down view. Zoom out a little bit. Select everything that's part of the ceiling. I might regret this because this might look a little bit weird. But, oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to leave the hallway ceilings the way they are. I'm going to change just these ceilings. Deselect. I'm going to change just those ceilings. Okay, I got to do this manually. Come on, guys. On camera, get our ceiling. I'm going to hit X, and I'm going to delete faces. So now we have this big open sky of a ceiling. And if you watched my other tutorial, you'll know that I'm already a huge fan of this. But there is a completely free add-on called Uber Ceiling that I just absolutely love to death. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to, and here's the thing, the instructions for appending Uber Ceiling into your scene are in the Uber Ceiling documentation. I will link to it in the description, but it's just easier to follow those than have me try to explain it to you. So I'm going to go ahead and import that into my scene right now. All right, so it did bring in our ceiling just fine and pretty close to where I actually want it. So I'm going to go into our front view here and just bring it down. So I'm going to hit G, Z, bring it down to the correct level there. And this actually came in kind of 2 chunks. So let's come over to, we'll hit 3 to go to side view. And I'll just grab this and kind of fit it into place in side view. And what you'll notice, and I'll link to my other tutorial as well, but this Uber Ceiling is basically just a plane that if you go into edit mode, you can grab and change the shape of however you want. Obviously, it gets a little wacky at some points, but I do like this little slope in the ceiling. So I'm actually going to hit G and Y to move it along the Y-axis so we have a little bit of that dip in our ceiling in our scene. And you can see it adds some grime, it adds some really nice texture to it, and these lights are all emissive, which is wonderful. You got to have emissive lights. Trust me there, you want emissive lights. Come over here to your world settings, and you're going to want to make sure that the surface is set to background and the color is set to color, and it's all the way black. You don't want anything showing through. Now, if I click up here, moment of magic, view mode rendered, and we have our scene starting to pop into place a little bit. I really like the way that looks. And I'm actually going to select our ceiling, G, Y, bring it over just a little bit. so that those lights on the side are just hanging off the side instead of overlapping. I think that looks a little bit nicer. And we're not really sealing, jeez. We're not really seeing the dip in the ceiling on this side, but we might if we animate the camera. So I still want to leave that where it is. This carpet, however, is not doing it for me. So let's see what other carpets we have. Just play around with it. See what works. This is the thing, guys. There's no right or wrong answer for any of this. Let's try this worn slate carpet. Sure, that looks fine. And if we want, we can actually make these lights even a little bit brighter. So if we select Uber Ceiling and we come over into our material, we can select the bulb and we can turn the brightness up a little bit. I think that generally backroom stuff looks better if it's a little bit overexposed. So I'll bring that way up. I think it looks really nice. I was going to add a light coming from this hallway, but now that I'm looking at it, I don't think it needs it. I think this looks pretty nice. So let's see what that looks like if we hit render. I'm going to hit F12, and we'll just see what this looks like. We'll give this a minute to render out. Okay, I don't need to let this finish rendering. I like that. I like where we're going with this. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that render. I want to add one thing to the scene. I always like to add, I don't know why, guys. Here's the thing. I like to add a chair. And I have a specific chair that I use. Where's my asset browser? I'll open up my asset browser. I got this in some pack that I purchased forever ago, and I really love it. So I'm gonna put the damn chair in my scene. Okay, I like the chair. There it is. We're gonna hit RZ to rotate it on the Z axis. Maybe we'll have it facing this way. GY to move it over here, and I'm gonna actually scale it down just a little bit because I feel like the scale of our room is off anyway. So there we go. I like having the chair. Oh wait, what if the chair was like in the hallway back there? Hold on, we're gonna try that because I think that would look really cool. Oh, I can't zoom in anymore. What do I do? No big deal. Frame selected. So I'm gonna GX. Oh boy. I'm into nothingness. What did I do? I broke Blender. GYX. Oh, G. See, here's the thing, guys. You're gonna do this too. You're gonna select the wrong thing. You're gonna click and move the wrong asset. No big deal, right? Control Z exists for a reason. GY. So I'm just using G and then constraining it to an axis over and over and over again to make sure that it stays on the floor. That's all you got to do. You don't have to worry. I mean, there are ways that you can get it to like stick to a surface. But if I'm being honest, I don't remember what that keyboard shortcut is most of the time. So I'm just going to do it this way. I like the way our scene is looking. The one thing that I think we really need though is a modifier for our building. So I'm going to select the building. I'm going to come over here to our modifiers tab. I'm going to add modifier and I'm going to search for bevel. And this is just going to add, I'm going to see if I can zoom into one of our corners here to show you. This is just going to add the tiniest bit of, see, even that's like too much, the tiniest bit of bevel to our scene. So I'm holding shift and just adding the ever so smallest amount. I'm going to have it be 2 segments, maybe 3. Every time you do that, though, it's going to add more geometry, so just be careful with that. But that just adds a little bit of geometry there that it's going to render out so not everything looks so sharp, because nothing in the real world is that sharp. And I think the other thing that I'd like to do is maybe change the floor one more time. I'm very indecisive about this, so I just want to see for my own, my own crazy compulsion, what it would look like if we did some tile down here. Let me search, because there's a really cool long tile that I have access to somewhere here. Long white tiles. I just want to see what this looks like. I don't like it. We'll go back to something else, but yeah, it's not tile. Tile's not the move. We'll find a different carpet. And I'm glad that I'm able to show you guys this part of the process, because I think so many times you watch a tutorial and it's like, oh, I knew exactly what I wanted to do from the get-go. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, I have no idea until I'm hitting render. I like that. I like the look of that. Kind of has that yellow, eerie, somewhat off-white vibe. I love it. But we're not done yet. We have one more step to make this look photorealistic and make this really feel like a backrooms render. So go ahead and render that out. Okay, my render's done. I do notice there's a little bit of a tiling look going on in my carpet, which I don't love. But you know what? It's okay. We're not here for perfection. But I will say there is one thing that I do need to fix, which is the depth of field. I did not add any to my camera, so we're going to close that out. Come into our camera. We're going to select this. We're going to come down to our camera settings here. Check depth of field. And then I like to just use this little eyedropper to select our chair. And what depth of field does, that's what gives you that nice foreground and background blur. And so I'm going to bring our f-stop way down. I'm probably overdoing it. Like we'll do 0.9. We'll do 0.9's fine. And you guys guessed it. We're changing the carpet again because if we're re-rendering anyway, I don't love that tiled look. So let's try a white carpet and see what that looks like. Oops, didn't have the floor selected. Bring it on in. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We'll render it. Why not? There we go. That looks so much better. So we're going to save our image here. Save it wherever you'd like. To do that, you do Image, Save As, and I'm going to blur all this. And when you're saving it, you can keep the color at RGB. I usually just save it as a PNG. Color depth, you can do 8 or 16. We're going to be compressing the hell out of this image anyway, so you don't worry about that. Compression I bring to 0 because I don't care about storage space, and we will save that image. So the last step in making this look photorealistic, because this looks good. Compositionally, I think this is fine, but it doesn't feel like the Backrooms yet. So the way that I like to do that is through a web app called NTSC-RS. Once we have that saved, we are going to come into web.ntsc.rs, and we are going to drag that frame in there. I'm going to blur this out. Boom, we have it in there. Now, it's automatically going to resize it to be a little bit small. I don't like it to be that small, so I'm going to unresize it and let it be its full size. And I know this is the answer that some people hate to hear, but just play with these settings because there are so many cool settings in this program. The ones that I like to play with a lot are, where'd we go here? Chroma phase error, which is going to kind of change the color of your scene a little bit. I'm going to leave that at 0 for now. Chroma phase noise, if you have that error, will help to kind of refine that a little bit. So I'll show you what that looks like. If you're adding in some noise there, it does this weird kind of linear work. It's neat. It's cool. I'm not going to use it right now. Chroma delay is going to be shifting those colors, and it might be a little hard to see. There we go. So it's just moving the colors of our scene around a little bit, the same way that a VHS tape actually would. Tape speed, I'm going to make that extended play and see if that degrades our scene a little bit more. Chroma loss. Nah, we don't need to lose any chroma. We can keep the chroma. Sharpen does exactly what you think sharpen would do. And what I want to do is with this scale item ticked, I want to just drag that over a little bit. That's what kind of keeps this looking real and like an old degraded VHS tape. And you can also download presets for this, which I do have some. I'm not using any right now, but I'd highly recommend using a preset for these if you can find some. But if you do have those, you can just come down here and whoop, there we go. Open from file. And then I think it's a JavaScript file that you import. It's awesome. It's super easy to use. It's great. Once you have it, you can just go ahead and click download and Bob's your uncle. And this last piece, I could have spent a whole tutorial on by itself, and I probably will in the future. But I just wanted to show you guys that you can use free tools at your disposal to make hyper-realistic Blender renders. So don't let there be any excuse, even if you're a beginner, even if you're just getting started. No one's checking your homework. Just make some awesome stuff, make what excites you, and publish it. Share it with the world. And yeah, I feel like that's the thing that's missing a lot right now. We have a lot of AI art. We don't have a lot of real live people art. So keep making cool stuff, and I would love it if you would comment with a link to one of your renders. Can you post links on YouTube? I don't know, but try. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments, and with that, I will see you in the next one. All right, peace.